What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash, here to give you another NFL division prediction. And today we are going over the AFC North. Some used to call this the best division in football. I don't know if many would agree with that anymore, but we've still got the Ravens. You've still got Joe Burrow, two of the best quarterbacks in this division with Lamar and Burrow, of course. And then, of course, you got the Browns and you got the Steelers just hanging around. They're doing stuff. Whether or not that's good stuff, hard to say. But before we get into it, and we have a draft plan for you all at the end of today's episode, so make sure you stick around towards the end. Matt, Theo, how are you guys doing on this beautiful Sunday evening?
I'm doing pretty well. Matt, I was talking to my mom the other day, and she asked about you.
What'd you tell her?
Well, she asked if you were sticking to your no phone resolution. You mentioned it. No,
not even close. But here's what's crazy, and it's funny your mom asked at this time. It's all gonna change tomorrow, Monday, as this episode comes out. It's just tough, dude. Because like, if you have to, you go on TikTok to like make a video, it's so easy to just start scrolling, and the same thing with Twitter, right? So it's difficult to avoid. And also I'm a big baby who needs screen time and phone time, and I got to kick my feet up in the air, and I don't know. It's not easy, dude. But going to the gym, no phone is underrated, I think. I know that's going to sound crazy to people, but even if I don't take like a little MP3 player, I just go no nothing. Sometimes I take it just like a little notepad. It's
a little notepad
to keep track of my sets.
Okay. I thought maybe you were journaling.
It would be it would be way funnier if I was just like doodling.
Real.
My phone was broken a few episodes ago at this point, and it was the greatest day ever. I didn't check it once. I just kept it in the rice.
It's amazing.
2 days it was in the rice, and I was like, I never have to go back, because I have a burner phone with TikTok downloaded in case of this very incident, so I could continue to make videos. And but I wasn't using it very much because it like isn't connected to my phone plan, and there's not much on it. This is great, but I couldn't get Chat BCC on my burner phone, and I had to talk to the people.
That's incredible.
I couldn't go without being on the Chat BCC, so I had to get my phone fixed.
You got his phone fixed just to get back in the Stay Hot group chat.
Yeah, because I downloaded.
I won't lie to you, man.
I downloaded the BCC, and then it sent I need my phone number to log in, right? And I was like, okay, I'll log in, and then it didn't send me the number. I was like, well, I guess I got to get my phone fixed.
Well. Yeah, I was playing golf Saturday, and I was in such a bad mood that morning, and then I was golfing, and I was playing well for me. We won't go over score. I was playing like my best round yet as somebody who's still very new. And I was like, dang, I'm in such a better mood now. And then I checked my phone at the turn for like 10 minutes. And then I instantly made myself miserable looking up like horrible world news. And then I was in a better mood when I was off my phone again. It is crazy how it like, and everyone knows it. We just carry around the thing that makes us miserable, the miserable device.
Well, it doesn't make me miserable anymore because of training camp clips, which can only be seen on the phone because you're not supposed to record any of it, so it doesn't really show on air. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And you've got to surf Twitter and peruse Twitter for clips. So I've been doing that a little bit, and it's good to see some action. It is good to see some action.
It is. I just never have the guts to like make a prediction off of anything that happens in training camp. So to me, it's all just kind of like, especially when like the quarterbacks are kind of just like letting it fly for the sake of trying out new things or whatever. It's tough.
Don't read any agendas and don't make any agendas. Just watch the clips. That's all.
Okay. All right. I'll have fun watching the clips. I'm sorry. I've been far more focused on the agendas of Jalen Hurts, Cam Newton, yelling and screaming. Yeah. This has literally been going on for like 1 month.
It's been happening for way too long.
I know for a fact that I was tweeting about this July 4th on my birthday. And people are like, how did we get on this? I know the exact answer is that some Eagles fan tweeted out like, there's two ways you can respond to life or whatever. And then it was like Jalen Hurts losing the Super Bowl and Cam Newton losing the Super Bowl. And I said, Cam's so much better to that. And I think that tweet that Eagles fan made might have been what set it off.
Well, I thought it was Cam himself saying on the
that
podcast
was way
that
later.
Hurts,
Or maybe,
that was way later.
It wasn't. Was it not way later that came along?
That happened recently.
Was that pre-July 4th?
That happened recently. So if
yeah,
you're tweeting about
that's
it,
kind of added fuel to the fire. But it's like, I think the Eagles are a great team. And the whole issue with this debate is that we're not going to like find out the answer here, most likely. He's still going to be on the Eagles. They're still awesome. We're not seeing him in a new situation where everything changes and you get a new perspective on it or whatnot.
And this is
but
I don't think anyone means to necessarily blame Jalen Hurts for the system. Like it's not like, oh, he's bad because he's in this great system. It's just that like Cam Newton carried this like ragtag group of receivers to the Super Bowl, man. Like, what are we?
Right.
Yeah, we won't see Hurts in a situation. Well, we will see Hurts in a situation because we've seen Hurts without A.J. Brown.
Okay, we're putting Hurts in this situation.
We've put Hurts in the situation. I mean, Hurts has played games without Brown, and he played games in 2021 when the situation wasn't like great.
If we're being fair to Hurts, like that's not really the player that he is now. He's still pretty young, and he's somebody who's developed a lot. I have nothing against Jalen Hurts either, but like essentially, and I don't think Eagles fans are like unique in this, but Hurts is now, one Super Bowl MVP, and he had a good game, but like now it's just going to be, we're pushing it as far as it can go until it becomes an argument. Like we're just going to go endlessly here, and it's like, like he's just not as good as Cam Newton. Just not. And you see all these people who want to, talk this shit about like, oh, well, Cam was only good for 1 year or whatever. And it's like, that's just total made up BS. Or that Cam didn't respond well enough to losing the Super Bowl. It's like the Panthers stunk after that. In 2025, 2 years after losing the Super Bowl, go look at that Eagles team and supporting cast they had around him, and then go look at what the Panthers gave Cam in 2017. Go look at what Cam did in the wild card round of 2017 against the Saints. He went for 400 yards and they lost. And they were making like gag T-shirts about the receivers who were on that team. The law firm. You couldn't name them. If your life depended on it, you could not name the like 5 receivers
was
who were on
Benjamin
that.
Still there?
He must have been hurt at that. No, I think he was gone. He was either hurt or gone because he did not play in that point. Not that Kelvin Benjamin was any good.
No, that's what I'm saying.
But it was like Devin Funches. Ginn was gone at that point. And Ginn was like...
Was DJ Moore there?
No, DJ Moore was 2018. McCaffrey was there. And they still had Olsen, but it was like...
Was McCaffrey...
Russell, Shepard, and Keelan... I don't want to say Keelan Cole. I'm forgetting his name now. My own personal. I mean, it was just like,
was he there?
Bird, I think, was later.
Oh, dude, if Bird was on that team,
I can't even. And you know what? I keep looking this up.
Sleeper Madden legends that you get in like a
Mose, like Frazier or something.
60.
I mean, it was brutal. So yeah. I've just been getting mad at that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're saying that Jalen Hurts is better than Cam was, then I think you have to think he's better than Lamar is right now. I don't think that's like an unreasonable.
I think to say that Hurts is better than Cam was, I think it's the same as saying Hurts is better than Josh Allen is, or Hurts is better than Lamar Jackson is, because they always fold in the playoffs and Hurts doesn't. I mean, people are pretending that the Eagles' passing offense struggling wasn't a storyline for like a huge portion of the season, and even into the playoffs. Like, Hurts is not coming off the kind of year where we need to be comparing him to any all-time greats. Like seriously.
He played well in the Super Bowl. And like, yes, when the passing offense was struggling, there was like injuries in the receiving core. Like, yes, that stuff is true.
Bird was there.
Yeah.
Bird was there. But those are the types of guys that Cam Newton was throwing to, and he was putting up like insane passing seasons.
Respect Philly Brown. He showed out in the Super Bowl. He came to play that day. He actually gave Aqib Talib some problems, and then
like
to leave.
when Ted Ginn's your wide receiver one, it's
Well, in
not the same as
2017, Ted Ginn wasn't even the wide receiver one
Exactly.
anymore. He was gone. He was with the Saints, and he played great in that wild card game, actually.
That's hard to stomach. But yeah, it's a debate that just goes to show a lot of people have, I think, different mentalities regarding the sport. They're not very scientific. I think they're almost worship. Like, there's someone who's at the top of the mountain and we all got to bow down, like, to that one quarterback. And the quarterback has powers that let him win the game because he's clutch. And the ones who lose just didn't
He's
try
hitting
hard
them
enough.
with their winter blast, and every other quarterback isn't smart enough to do that, isn't kind enough to do that, isn't a good enough leader to do that.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Now, look, I'm not going to be too mad at Eagles fans because I'm sure Panthers fans are going to do the same thing here, this time next year.
After Bryce is carried to the...
Well, yeah, something along those lines. But Bryce is going for 5K and all that good stuff.
Yeah, Bryce is putting all the doubts to rest.
With Tet and Leggett and whatnot. Theo, I saw you even kind of going to war over the fact that like people were using the Cam Hurts stuff to like downplay how good that Broncos defense was.
It's just any conceivable angle will be taken. It's truly, what are we talking about, man? Like
it's one of the greatest defenses ever.
Yeah, it was top 5 all time. Top 10 all time, definitely.
Yeah, definitely top 10.
It was ranked the best of the 2010s on ESPN by Aaron Schatz, who used to be on Football Outsiders.
It can't be close. Like, it's the best of the 2010s, and I don't know.
Yeah, and he went through the Legion of Boom on that playoff run. Like, he beat the Seahawks, who had a good defense that year. Like,
and that Broncos defense had
it's
Brady.
not like he folded immediately.
they went through Brady, and that was. If that was 2015, Brady was probably like the best he had ever been. Yeah.
I just think, you got to look at Hurts is a very good quarterback, and I understand why Eagles fans feel like he's been nothing but nitpicked after winning the Super Bowl and playing great in the Super Bowl, which doesn't seem right. But that's just the nature of social media. Like, these debates start up, and everyone's like, "That's crazy."
Yeah, I mean, it's like there is a level of like, well, he started it. Type of stuff to this, but
he started it.
Like, if you don't want Jalen Hurts to get nitpicked, don't be like, why can't Lamar and Josh Allen win, but Jalen Hurts can? It's like, well, then you're setting your guy up there a little bit when people talk about that type of stuff. So
yeah, and Cam is in that tier. I mean, the Panthers were garbage before he got there, and they were garbage after he left, and they were good when he was there. Like, they were consistently competitive, making the playoffs, like above average offenses.
Like LeBron, man.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, it kind of is. Like, obviously LeBron had a longevity, but I could definitely imagine a world where Cam Newton left the Panthers and went to like a better organization and like rattled off a bunch of Super Bowls. Like, obviously it's a hypothetical and everybody hates hypotheticals, but there's nothing hypothetical about like, if Lane Johnson was the right tackle, Von Miller would have been blocked better in the Super Bowl, and they may have had a chance. Like, this is true, So, yeah, I think Hurts is good, but Cam was definitely better, and
Lamar is better now, and Allen is better now.
Did not take over a franchise that had very recently been in the Super Bowl and won it with Nick Foles, right? Like Howie Roseman and Jeff Stoutland and Lane Johnson, like all big pieces that were still there. Like, Cam didn't really get anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, he definitely didn't. But if we want to get into the AFC North, what team do we want to start with, boys?
You can pick.
Do you want to just get him out of the way?
Sure.
The Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Let's just get it over with, man.
They're going to be really terrible.
They're going to be pretty bad. I did a couple of podcasts and radio shows over the past couple of weeks talking about the Browns. And I keep sort of having like the same discussions about like, yeah, the quarterback play is going to be really bad this year again. Like, there's no question about that. And especially when you go into the year knowing that there's this QB battle on the table, like going into the offseason, how many times does that work out in terms of like resulting in positive quarterback play? I mean, it's got to be zero. Like, I can't think of any off the top of my head that have actually worked out in the positive for that. So that's the main thing that's holding them back. I do think as far as things to be excited about, obviously you've got Garrett still. The defensive line in general, I think looks really, really good. Like, that's the one thing that I'm like super, super excited about. Garrett and Graham and Malik Collins, I think, is kind of a better, I hate to use like the better scheme fit, but it's someone that I think Schwartz will like more than Tomlinson. And they've got guys like Alex Wright and Michael Hall, who we've talked about. Shelby Harris is there. So like they've just got like so much depth. I think they're going to be really good at getting after the passer this year. And then of course they've still got Ward. They've still got Delpit, who I think is still a strong player. And I'm trying to talk myself into the fact that like Greg Newsome and Martin Emerson, I think, overperformed in 23 because the pass rush was so dominant, and maybe they underperformed a little more than their level last year, and this year maybe they regress back to the mean a little bit, especially because they're both in contract years, so they need to play their asses off a little bit, if not for their sake in Cleveland, but just in general getting like a contract somewhere. So I'm willing to talk myself into the secondary being good. The big unknown on the defense is the linebacker room right now. Like, that could be anything. It could be completely terrible because, I mean, you don't have JOK. They just had someone retire who I'm like totally blank. Jordan Hicks just retired. So like Schlesinger is going to start. It's going to be Schlesinger and Baker out there week 1. And Schlesinger, I think, has like JOK particles in him. Like, he can shoot gaps. And I think the defensive line is going to be good enough that there's going to be gaps for him to shoot sort of uncontested. And he's great in coverage. So I can see that being okay, but I could also just see it being like a total disaster. So the defense, I actually think, will be a lot better. And we talked about this when we did our top 10 defenses. The Browns defense, I think, will be a lot better than it was last year. Probably one of the 10 best defenses in football again. The offense, with the quarterback situation, is a disaster. The running backs, I think, are another big question mark, whether or not, obviously, how, what happens with Judkins. And then they've got Dylan Sampson and Jerome Ford. But I think a lot of that depends on the offensive line because it was super banged up last year, just a complete revolving door. They brought in guys like Tevin Jenkins to kind of be a depth piece, and Cornelius Lucas, who's like 40. I don't know how he's ancient at this point. But like, even if they're all healthy, I don't even know how good I think this offensive line is. Like, when was the last time Collins played a full season? Wyatt Teller was really bad last year when he was healthy. Like, he was horrible in pass protection. I went back and I was watching Dallas and the Giants, and a lot of the plays where DeJuan Jones and Teller were next to each other, and people were talking about, oh man, Teller can't hang with these speed rushers. A lot of those plays, sometimes it was Jones getting beat around the edge, but sometimes it was Teller would immediately lose or just not play his assignment at all, and Jones would have to pick up for him. And so then someone's getting through basically untouched. So like, there's a lot about the offensive line that I'm concerned about. The only thing on the offense that really I find any reason to be excited about is the receivers, just like the pass catching weapons, which we talked about in our fantasy episode last time. Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman. I think Deontay Johnson's a huge upgrade over Elijah Moore. And then we like Njoku, we like Fannin. So I think there's some reason to be excited there, but the offense could once again be one of the worst in the league.
Yeah, I don't think they've made any addition to this offense. It makes me feel like, for the record, the 32nd team in offensive EPA is going to be significantly better. Even if Fannin is good, like, I don't think their receiving room is like average. I don't think it's like really even like arguing.
No,
average, frankly.
Like I'm sitting here being like, I can get excited about it, but no, it probably.
Look, they've got a couple of guys. Like, if you're a Fannin guy, and I'm interested to see him play too. I think it'll be cool to see how his stuff translates. And like, they got a couple of backs who you can be interested in as well. And they've got, rookie quarterbacks who are probably going to get some time, which is always exciting, right?
Yeah.
But like, even if I told you right now that Judkins would be like pretty good and Fannin would have like maybe an underrated rookie season.
One, obviously.
Right. Or like even like Sanders looked already like I don't even know if any of that would really be enough to get them out of the basement. And those are like, it's asking a lot to say, hey, Shedeur Sanders, 5th round pick, you have to come in and like save an NFL offense from being, dead last. I don't think that's really fair for him. I agree the offensive line isn't that strong. I don't think the weapons are that strong. And again, the rookies could pan out and probably not save them. Defensively, wouldn't be shocked if they were better. I totally agree with you about the defensive line being really excited. I'm really pumped for Mason Graham.
Yeah.
The secondary, I think I'm a little bit more worried about than hopeful. But
I'm worried, but I'm trying to talk myself.
Their back seven is not that great. I still think with the amount of pressure that they get, like if you told me they ended up a league average or even above league average, because Garrett's just that great, would not shock me. But truly, I think what's going to happen is like we're running back just an unplayable offense. It's hard to even foresee a path to them being like, good on that side of the ball without some really crazy rookie performances. And I don't think you can really project that, even though like I like the Sanders pick and I'm interested to see what Fannin does. And I think Judkins will be a good back. And like Samson was not a bad pick where that's, The
vision I have right now for the offense is like, they've just got so many bodies, like so many different types of guys that are catching passes, that it gives Stefanski a lot of different packages that he can run. And so I think there could be like enough variance in the offense that maybe they can just like catch enough teams by surprise and win some games that way.
Frankly, I think that's Cope. I won't lie. They do have a lot of different types of guys. This is pretty far down the list of like good reasons to be excited about
also,
the offense.
I've been going back and forth on who I think like the day one starter is going to be for a while.
Who knows?
I've been certain for the longest time that it was going to be Flacco. I'm like guaranteed, like he's been there before. He knows the offense. Like he's going to get the nod. And then it like, it started to click in my head that like, it's not unreasonable to think that Kenny Pickett could start day one. Because
now he's got a hamstring thing.
That just happened. That just
happened, it literally just happened. So that doesn't help his odds.
It doesn't help his odds. But like he could.
If I told you the line on quarterbacks starting a game for the Browns was 3.5, what would you take?
Oh, I'm taking the over. And like I used to be like, oh, it's gonna be at least 3. Like it is a lock in my mind that it's 3. But the more that I've talked, but the only reason I've been saying 3 is because I'm like, is Pickett even going to play? Because it's going to go Flacco and then probably like Gabriel, then Sanders, right? Just because like Stefanski and Barry clearly wanted Gabriel and Haslam wanted Sanders. But the more I'm like, dude, it could be Pickett, then Flacco, then Gabriel, then Sanders. I think we're getting 4. I think we're getting all 4 of them.
I would take under 3.5.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, 4 is a lot of quarterbacks to start in one season. I get that they have 5.
It would be the first time the Browns have done it.
If Flacco starts game 1, I mean, they gave up a 5th for Pickett. They gave up a 5th for Sanders. They gave up a 3rd for Gabriel. I'm not really, frankly, confident that any of those guys are going to go look amazing. I mean, my pick, if I had to choose a starter, I wouldn't even bother with Flacco, no disrespect, because it's like, what are we doing? Like, what's the long-term plan here? Obviously, the Browns can't think in terms of like, we're screwed, there's no point. But like, that's the terms that I'm thinking in. And I would start Sanders, but it wouldn't shock me if like Flacco's out there for a little bit and then they want to see somebody else and then maybe an injury happens. And then like late in the season, wouldn't shock me if they're just giving a guy a game to give a guy a game. So I might take the over too. But I see your vision.
I thought
4 is a lot.
It is a lot. My thought right now is Pickett's going to start week 1.
It's the Browns.
He's going to start. It's the Browns. Yeah. They're going to be 1-7 through like their first 8 games. And then going in, I think they have a game against like Miami or something after that stretch. And that's when they're going to switch it up. And they're going to send Gabriel or Sanders in at that point. And then one of those guys is going to get hurt. And then, but it'll be something minor. It'll be like a hamstring, but it'll be like, it's going to sideline him for a little bit. And so they're going to throw Flacco in just kind of as a relief. And then eventually they'll be like, you know what? The guy that we put in before, he still needs more time to come back. And he wasn't playing that great anyway. Let's throw in the other guy. And it's just going to be, it's so easy to see the vision for like each of these guys to get 2 games at least.
What order do you think it would go? I think it would go Pickett
Who
first.
knows?
Do you think they would skip Flacco and go right to? Well, I assume
I guess it depends on
Gabriel
how
would go before Sanders, right? They picked him so much higher.
They did. I think it depends on why they would move on from Pickett. Like if Pickett starts day 1 and he gets hurt, I think it's definitely Flacco that comes in next.
Yeah.
But I think if they're like, well, we suck anyway, let's put one of the rookies.
Well, if Pickett gets like, let's say Pickett's just like a complete disaster. And what's interesting is that they play the Bengals, who we'll get into their defense at some point week 1, but like at Ravens week 2, I'm not feeling good about that one for whoever is starting. This is why Shedeur Sanders is wise in ways that people can't say. I see he gets all these questions. Why aren't you on first team? Like, how do you feel about that? And he's like, giving like a good response that doesn't really say much, but his true answer is that he's gleeful. He does not want to start at Ravens week 2 on this Browns offense. And
no, do you understand like how it's the first 6 games? That's what it'll be.
Yeah, they go Bengals, Ravens, Packers, Lions, Vikings, Steelers. That's not going to go great, I don't think. They very well could start 0-6. Frankly, I don't know. Are they the worst team in the NFL?
I've been giving them 5 wins, which
5?
Don't look at me like that, Matt.
I don't think 5 is that crazy.
I don't know, dude.
I don't think 5 is crazy at all. My Browns' hope is that I think I actually feel better about them going into this year than last year. Like last year, they were coming off a playoff appearance, right? But looking at them, I was like, I don't know, man. Like Deshaun Watson is still their quarterback, and like defenses bounce up and down so much. Like I could really see them coming back down to earth, and they really did. And now I have a little bit of a higher opinion on Jerry Jeudy than I did before. I think the defense is going to suffer the opposite fate when they went from like a top 5 pass defense to a bottom 3, secondary.
Yeah.
Like they only had 4 interceptions last year. That's something that you can't get any kind of analytical beat on. And like, it's always going up and down. So it's like, okay, 4 interceptions is probably that bottoming out with Mason Graham and the pass rush improving. Like, can the defense regress to the mean a little bit? Like you said, Blaiden, I absolutely think so. The offense with 12 personnel and the run game and like all these different quarterbacks who are all probably better than Deshaun Watson.
What about the run game?
What about the run game? I mean, they added Judkins.
Again,
do we think
we know he's playing? I don't know.
Play, dude.
Let's assume, and we are assuming that he.
Batonio's the only offensive lineman that started 17 games. The run game is not going to be like special or anything like that. But with maybe a healthier line and 2 additional running backs, there's a reason to be more
banking on
excited about.
In Cleveland is not.
Yeah, maybe not. Conklin's always hurt. Wills is always hurt.
Like.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, they're starting Dwan Jones at left tackle. Who like. Dude, I'm sorry. I just don't see it at all with this.
I think he'll be better than
think-
Wills. I do think he'll be better than Wills.
Look, I think this is a lot of looking at the upside of every little thing. I will give you that they do have Garrett, and maybe that alone keeps them out of like the total basement. Like, again, their defense really wasn't that bad last year, but I also think this, like, there's plenty of defenses who can have like a legendary edge rusher and still be like bad if the rest isn't very good, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, how good was the Cowboys defense last year? Like, I think the assumption that they're going to like last year was the floor just off of interceptions, when like the back seven of their defense right now does not look good. I like Schlesinger. I think he'll be a good player, but I just don't think it's strong enough across the board for me to be like, it's going to be like what splitting the middle would be like, not 8. That's a little rich for me. It's not impossible with better interception. Like, I totally agree. But I'm not sitting here like feeling great about them, to be completely honest. I think their offense has a way easier path to being a mess than almost anybody else in the NFL, bar like,
Oh yeah, I mean their offense is going to be
Jets or
bad.
the Saints.
Maybe quarterback play doesn't always mean winning, but it certainly provides you a floor from losing. Like this quarterback room screams first overall pick. Like teams,
and it's just ridiculously so.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was thinking about it, and maybe this is like rehashing something we've already talked about, and everyone can be sick of it. But like, if they don't get the first overall pick, essentially what they've done is foregone a major trade package and given Myles Garrett $40 million to stop them from having the first overall pick.
yes.
That's about it. That's what this team,
And that's what I think will happen.
fighting.
That's what might happen. Like that's what I'm
It is
concerned
seriously.
about.
But even if they don't have the first overall pick, they have 2 first-round picks next year.
They do have 2 first-round picks, sure.
They didn't
And,
give up Hunter. Who else did they give up? Genty.
Yeah.
And
That's true. They gave up
Third.
Hunter.
yeah,
No, they didn't give up Genty. They could have taken Genty.
they could have taken
They
Genty.
chose not to.
passed on him, but they truly
passed
gave
on
up Travis.
And Mason Graham is a good player, I think. And I'm really excited to see that defensive line. I do agree. Their defensive line is very good. But I'm just not that moved by what they did this offseason in terms of like it translating to wins now.
Yeah,
I'm not projecting them to be any better than like staving off being the worst team in the league.
I'm not either.
That's why I gave them 5 wins. You know,
That's
first of
kind
all,
of.
it's 3 wins in the division, and 2 wins.
I could see them finding 5. I would not project 3 in the division.
So here's the win total. I gave them week 1 against Cincinnati. It's in Cleveland. I gave them week 7 against Miami, again in Cleveland. I gave them week 10 coming out of the bye week at the Jets. Then following that up, back in Cleveland against Baltimore. And then they beat Pittsburgh week 17. Right.
I don't even think it's a useful exercise to look at the schedule and find where the wins are, honestly. I think you can put a
It's
vibe at
definitely
it.
a tough exercise.
I don't know if it'll go down like that, but I mean, I could see them reaching 5. They got to 2 last year, 3 last year.
I was going to
and
say, give us a little
I
more
might
credit.
I might take this carousel over Watson being the legitimate plan. Like,
Oh, well, from a long-term perspective, like, yeah, I like taking a shot. Specifically, like, I'm more interested in Shedeur Sanders and I guess Dylan Gabriel too than I am in like, let's see what Deshaun Watson has. Like, certainly, sure. I'm not. And here's the thing, like, my stance is that I think they could even like come away saying like we had a pretty good draft, and it still might not like impact their win total that much this year, frankly.
mhm.
I mean, Fannin is like a 230-pound tight end who's like, what, 20 years old? And it's like, dude, you got to fix the offense. Shedeur Sanders is a 5th-round pick. No, just like, it's just a lot.
Yeah, they were 32nd in offensive DVOA last year. That could very easily continue. They were 25th in defensive DVOA. And
I think that's good.
I think
that's
I
gonna
just see that rebounding. I just see it rebounding, and maybe there's no reason.
All right.
Graham is enough of a reason, and then just things like that tend to happen. Like
he changes the
It's
math
not
for me
ju-
year
it's not
one. I think
just
that's a
Graham.
reasonable
It's like-
expectation.
Like it's also Collins. It's also like they've just got more guys like rushing the passer this year than they did last year.
They do.
So I do think it'll be better on defense. But yeah, the offense is going to be a disaster.
They were also 30th in special teams. How about the kicker situation, Blaiden? What's that looking? What are they doing at kicker this year?
I don't give a shit.
You don't care? This is going to be important if they want to get to 5 games, Blaiden. I'm still seeing Dustin Hopkins.
Yeah, you're seeing Dustin Hopkins. You've got Corey Bajorquez at punter.
Shout out Corey Bajorquez.
He's
That'd
actually
be a
the
terrible
GOAT.
job.
Browns
kicker. That would suck.
Why? I feel like that'd be a pretty good job.
Why?
You
You're just
chill most of
kicking
the
like
time.
just a miserable position, high stress for a doomed team. I'm cool.
Yeah, but how often are you going to be out there kicking?
I guess, but it'd be nervous, man. It'd make you nervous.
I guess.
The fans are already mad, so each missed
Right.
field goal just
It's like you're like down like 30 already or whatever. The offense has gotten into opponent territory one time. You like miss a 57-yarder.
you get none of the
you check
upside
your
of being.
phone when you get to the sideline. Horrible things are being said about you on Twitter.
Like, what's the
And your
fun
game
part
check
about
is
being a
not that
kicker?
crazy.
Yeah, what's the
I guess
fun part
that's
about
true.
being a kicker? Hitting game winners, Like,
yeah.
you get none of that when you're on the Browns. No winning kicks, and the missing is just...
If they're winning 5 games, I feel like there's one game winning kick in our bag.
If you're winning 5, you will need a game-winning kick at some point. A game-losing kick, and you're winning 4. All right, that's what it comes down to. So
you know what? What is the Browns win total line at?
it's probably at about like 5.5, because that's about as low as it goes, which is why I think it's a reasonable
All right. They're gonna get their 5.
It is.
expectation.
It's 4.5. There we go.
Ah,
A little
I'm
over.
taking the under.
I'm with you, Blade. I'm taking the over.
Let's
I
go.
think they get to 5.
Under. All right, we're taking the over as a podcast on the Cleveland Browns. We're psyched. Do we want to move on to another team, the Cincinnati Bengals?
Same state.
Yeah,
Same
let's keep it in
state,
Ohio.
slightly different story. I'll be real with you. My overall thought on the AFC North is that I don't think that much is really changing. Just talked about the Browns. We think they're generally the same team in terms of like what their path to like not being the worst team is like, but they're going to be like really bad at QB and the offense, blah, 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 blah. Here with the Bengals, you take a look at what happened this offseason and you say, okay, they're going to have a really great passing offense. They have Burrow and Chase and Higgins, and that's going to be super dope. And maybe Higgins plays a full year and that helps. But their defense is like really hard to buy into with any serious improvement, right? And that's like talking as if we're assuming Trey Hendrickson is back, which as it stands right now, like it's legitimately looking pretty dicey. Usually these things get solved, but with the Bengals and how long this has gone on and how late this has gone on, I mean, it's almost August.
Is it?
I think there's real reason to be worried.
Dude, Trey
Is it
Hendrickson.
reasonable to assume that it could get worked out just because they did.
It's not impossible. Here's the thing. Regardless, if we want to talk in terms of like, okay, well, the Browns are going to figure it out fine. Like, or not the Browns, the Bengals
yeah.
are going to figure it out fine. But like their defense really wasn't that great last year. To me, the path for them, like their best case scenario within like reason, is probably Hendrickson comes back. He does his thing. It keeps the defense out of like the absolute basement, which they weren't quite. And the offense that's largely running it back is relatively similar, but their luck in like 1-score games is better, right? They got off to like a really freaky bad start last year.
If
You take, well, I think
if
I
something,
know I'm saying some ifs, but
no, I support ifs.
one score game progression is often talked about on this podcast. They were 4-7 last year. If they get a couple more of those, it could be like 11-6. It's no guarantee, but like that's to me kind of like, I don't want to say their ceiling, but it just feels like maybe they can be better in the clutch moments, but at the end of the day, even if they find the playoffs, even if they get out of the wild card round, because they'll be feisty against everybody, it's probably going to, the thing we'll be saying about them at the end of the season will generally be, I think, the thing we said about them at the end of last season. That's the point that I'm trying to get to.
They need to start Desmond Ridder if they want to act.
Which is put Ridder in. This is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous. I do actually think there is some upside to the, like, okay, if Hendrickson does his thing, which we're assuming they get.
Okay, you want to talk upside to the defense? You're high on Shamar Stewart. Okay, I'll at least open
You're high on Jordan Battle.
Jordan Battle.
Jordan Battle. I don't know.
Well, you got to be high on the D coordinator. That's what you got to be high on, is Golden. He was the D coordinator at Notre Dame last year. They had, I think, the best defense in the country, playing a lot of man, simplifying things for everybody. And on paper, that's exactly what the Bengals need. They need a developer. All right. They need Shamar Stewart to come along quick. They need Miles Murphy to come along way quicker than he ever did with Anarumo. Every rookie. They've drafted nothing but first-round defensive rookies, and none of them developed under Anarumo. They need Golden to actually, like, get some people to take strides, and then maybe the way to do that is to simplify things. Like, we are penetrating, we're filling gaps, we're playing man coverage. Mm-hmm. That's that. That's all you need to know. And if Hendrickson comes back, that could be a better system, you know, like that could legitimately be more fitting of the defensive talent than what Anarumo was trying to do after all the safeties left. So that is the vision, plus the one score game luck, plus, you know, the offense is going to do its thing, obviously. So like there is a path there. There is a path there.
I just don't think the defense is that good talent-wise, and I think part of, like, what can the defensive coordinator do? Okay, we'll make the young players who haven't really broken out for them break out. It's like, that's a little bit too speculative for me. I mean, it's not unthinkable. And there's a few guys. I'll give you, like, Chris Jenkins Jr. or whoever, and, like, I think it's tough for me to imagine Shamar Stewart comes in year one and is just, like, really, really producing after not in college for years and years. But I do kind of believe in the talent. I'm not as low on that pick as a lot of other people. But, man, again, this is all assuming that they have Hendrickson. If they don't have Hendrickson, if they don't have Hendrickson, I don't want to hear anything about how they're going to simplify things and play man, and that's going to go good. That's not going to go good.
No.
That would be a disaster.
He's got to trust in Jordan Battle, man. He's going to put a roof on things, and it's... No one's going to be able to...
You don't know about Jordan Battle putting a roof on things.
You don't know about Cincinnati Bengals Lord and Savior, Alabama legend Jordan Battle.
I
guess not.
For the Hendrickson contract conversation, I went to like an incel Reddit page and tried to find some quotes that might describe his situation, and there were a lot of good ones. Like, never push a loyal person to the point where they no longer give a damn. That's Trey Hendrickson. Okay. Be careful how far you push someone away. They might like it there.
They might like it there.
He's getting paid like half of what TJ Watt is, and I think he's younger and had more sacks last year. Like, what are they going to do, man? Like, he could validly demand so much money at this point, and they could have done it. They could have signed him last year. Like, this is the second time he's demanded a trade. He's worked with them. He's continued to be, you know, the nice guy. But yeah, you push a nice guy too far and he, you know, even the nicest people have their limits.
Last, man.
The nicest people are the scariest people when they've had enough, according to this message board. And that's Trey Hendrickson. He's the scariest person.
What is this Reddit board called, Theo?
You don't want to know. I'm not revealing my incel sources.
We don't want to give them any notoriety.
Yeah.
You're right.
Look, yeah, Al Golden, I think it could work out. There is a positive spin that I can see, but more than that, I see just the exact same roster. even if Trey Hendrickson comes back.
It is crazy how little has changed. And that was my immediate thought with them, to like specifically, it's like they didn't even like do that much outside of kind of draft their guys and change a coordinator. It's like an NBA team that's stuck out of money, which they kind of are comped to right now.
And like last year was the first time Burrow ever played 17 games. Like he was super healthy and they missed. And he's somebody who usually gets banged up, and T. Higgins is somebody who usually gets banged up, and Amarius Mims is somebody who usually gets banged up. And if anything like that happens, I think their margin of error is just not very big to make the playoffs. They won, and you can talk about the 4th and 16 PI versus the Chiefs, and if that didn't happen, we would have won. Sure, if we would have made some field goals versus the Ravens, if we would have made a 2-point conversion versus the Ravens, we would have won. Like if at the same time they beat terrible teams. Like they beat, I think, 2 teams that picked outside of the top 10. I know they beat 1 team the entire year last year that even is returning that same quarterback, and that's the Broncos with Bo Nix. It's the only like franchise quarterback type of team that they beat. The rest were all like bottom feeders. Yeah. So this year, what if they have to beat 7 starting quarterbacks to get to the playoffs, right? Like what if this year the schedule is harder? Like
I do think the 1-score luck looks better for them. Like I get what you're saying, but they did go toe to toe with a bunch of those teams and lose by a penny. They can. Look, I'm not saying it's necessarily
the Browns, man. Like I don't.
The Browns won 2 games against teams that are returning their starting quarterback. Like it's crazy that the Bengals only won.
That's like a sample size.
Look, it's a fluke, sure, but I'm just saying for all we almost beat good teams, there's a flip side of that where the only teams that they did actually beat were all like terrible. They were all terrible. Yeah, so the Bengals, I don't know. I think they're going to miss again. I just think they're too much the same, and they're too one-dimensional. They're not good under center. They're not really good running. They don't run the ball.
They could be second in the division and still miss.
Yeah, easily. I think the Baltimore Ravens are the only ones making the playoffs because, like you said, Matt, this division is kind of a lot of the same, a lot of lateral moving.
Yeah. And we can talk a little bit about Pittsburgh then, because that's the other team where it's like, I kind of think the same about everybody, but the Pittsburghs are a little bit different in the sense that they changed up a lot. And then you take a step back after the off season and you're like, okay, this is not really fundamentally all that different to me, in the sense that I think their defense will still be good. I think that their defensive line is still really good, and that gives them a very good floor.
Yep.
However, they're pretty old on that side of the ball, so there's some aggression that potentially needs to be staved off. And more importantly, offensively, I just think the pass game is probably going to be limited. I don't question that Rodgers is what I would have done after they didn't get Geno and maybe Darnold. And I do like that they went and got him instead of rolling in with Rudolph, because then I would be saying something did very much change, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, I just don't think the receiver room is very fleshed out. I don't think Rodgers is the creator that he used to be. That combination makes it feel like it's going to be, wading through mud here trying to throw the ball. And I think that puts a pretty low ceiling on what this team could end up being. For reference, last year with the Jets, when, for at least for a portion of the season, they had like some serious receiver play, albeit like not like a fully fleshed out awesome offense. They were like 18th in passing EPA per play. Steelers were 19th last year. I would be surprised if the Steelers really massively improved from that level. The path I'm trying to imagine is like maybe another year removed from an Achilles tear, even though he's like 40 something. It does help Rodgers a little bit, but like that's hard to project. Like we're going to be more mobile at 41, even with that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, my thought when I was watching the Steelers in preparation for this was Rodgers better than Russ last year?
Yes, dude, that's yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
They're two. I think they're limited in different ways. Is how I've been thinking.
But if you've got if you've got DK Metcalf, and the best thing about the Steelers offense last year was like the go balls down the sideline, would you rather be limited in the Russ way or the Rodgers way? Because I'm thinking about how that fit is going to be.
I think I'm really worried about the fit entirely, where it's like kind of a one-dimensional, albeit good receiver, and like it's just very easy to close your eyes to be Colin Cowherd and imagine Aaron Rodgers being furious at the receivers next year.
Close your eyes and imagine him throwing it out of bounds on a deep shot. Like there was a lot of that last year, and Wilson always put it in a very catchable place, and George Pickens was a great contested catch artist. Now I'm imagining that like sideline shot with Rodgers and DK. And if it's anything like we've seen like last year, that connection is not going to be as good. And it's an offense that's very,
Did you
like, the only thing to get excited
sideline
about is
deep
that
shot
one
Rodgers
connection.
threw today in training camp to DK?
Yeah,
And
I don't want to get too caught up on the training camp
I
clips,
know, but it was like 7 yards out of bounds.
Yes, I know. I have seen some of these Rodgers DK deep shots, and I'm like, Wilson to Pickens was probably could be a little bit prettier, and like last year that kind of thing was so bad. Now maybe they fine tune the offense and it's more to Rodgers' strength, but they don't have the overall receiving core to do that. Like they don't have the receiving core to spread out and make a bunch of one-on-ones, and Rodgers, rhythms it down the field, just humming a bunch of slants. Like that's not how the Steelers should play. Like this, would the Steelers have been better off?
Robert Woods is wide receiver 3, and it's Calvin Austin is wide. I mean, it's just not a deep room, and I totally agree.
And I think about Wilson, like with Neighbors now, like Wilson with Neighbors now, are we going to look back at this and say, okay, the Steelers should have gotten Geno, they should have gotten Darnold. Maybe they should have just kept Wilson instead of doing this whole dance with Rodgers. Like that.
Yes.
I kind of am anticipating that kind of thing.
Keeping Wilson would have been, I think, like it would have been lateral, but is it any more lateral or is it any more backwards than?
I don't know. I'll be real with you. That's not the issue that I think the Steelers have, frankly.
Yeah, they'd be mid each way, but
I think you can, like, if you really like Caleb Johnson, and it's like, okay, you get Fautanu back, or Jono Smith is like a cool addition, or I don't hate the Derek Harmon pick. I think he could be, a good piece early, and maybe you think like the regression doesn't hit them, albeit like Slay, Ramsey, Watt, Hayward, all key players, all like pretty dang old, right? Although, some of those guys are coming off a pretty good year, so
sure, but like
take it for what it is. But it's like the Bengals, where I'm sitting and thinking, how is this season going to end? And it feels like even in the better scenario outcome, we're probably saying the same thing about them then that we were at the end of last season, which is that this offense is way too low ceiling, and their quarterback play is just not consistent enough for them to have a serious shot, like going on a run and like beating the Bills and the Ravens. It's really hard to imagine pulling that off.
And they could be the Browns, I think, of last year, this year. Like the Browns 2 years ago were in the playoffs, right? They got spanked in the wild card round. The initial assumption is like, well, the defense is really good. Like the quarterback situation is bad, but they've overcome it before. So they're going to be at least okay, like knocking on the door of the wild cards again. And then the bottom fell out because the quarterback play was so bad. Like I do think that we, at best, we're talking about the Steelers the same way next year.
And you know what?
The floor is low.
I like that take a lot because the idea. I do. As a Browns fan, no, but it's like I feel like the main argument against that would be like, well, the Steelers have a better culture than the Browns. But you know who is really good at eroding away at the culture of an organization? Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
I will say I still do trust Tomlin and the Steelers' consistency over the Cleveland Browns, but that is a good way.
Yeah, but I mean,
that is a good way to make the case.
The Browns have won a playoff game more recently than the Steelers have, and
that's true. But we're not talking about winning a playoff game. We're talking about finding a way to 8-1.
Yeah.
Just to get that winning record line. It
is a good point
that they are.
I see your vision though.
Yeah, there's a lot that needs to get done on defense too. I feel like they need to get they need to get more diverse. Like if they're going to be sticking in the one high shells and like lining TJ at the same spot over and over again, like the defense has no guarantee to just like light it up continually year in and year out and get older. Like I think they eventually need to get a little bit more creative with how they utilize Watt. If it's starting to go down, like the productivity, like they always line him up in the exact same spot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he always does kind of the same move and it works a lot, but why not, if the weak link is at center, put TJ Watt over the center? If the weak link is at left guard, why not put TJ Watt over the left guard? Like you deal with absolutely none of that right now. And they play one high more than anybody else in the league when the meta is too high. And now your great center fielder, Minka Fitzpatrick, is gone. So I'd like to see a change of philosophy on defense, but the Steelers don't really like to change anything.
It's almost like they want to live in this world where, well, if we just line TJ Watt up in the same spot and teams just don't ever run there, then we know that they're running to the left. Like, so we could just really crash downhill to the left.
Yeah.
And it's like they're just willing to live and die in that world.
They could stand to be more creative to get TJ Watt his numbers jumped up, because maybe like he's still a good player. Maybe the lack of production can get mitigated very easily if they just have him hunt matchups like Myles Garrett does. Like, you know, like that could be a good idea.
That's a coordination issue, man.
It is, and there's a lot of them in Pittsburgh. It just feels like where are you maximizing things? Like, are they maximizing things with their defensive play calling? I don't know. Are they maximizing things with their offensive play calling? Certainly not. Did they maximize their value this offseason with their signings? Like, you make enough mistakes like that, and eventually, like, you could get really burned. So they have this reputation of a floor, and maybe it's more than a reputation, and maybe it'll just always be this way, and it'll be fine.
I don't think it's always going to be this way, but I do think like there's a level of defensive talent that they have.
Yeah, Hayward.
I get
and
like
Highsmith.
Right, like the disaster scenario of like, what if TJ Watt is like really regressing and then he really takes like a step back from even last year, which was not his best season. That's when we could have the conversation. But if you're not predicting that specifically, then I have a really hard time believing that they're just going to go completely belly up and be Browns level bad. You want to say they're going to win 7 games and this is the end of the streak, that's one thing. They're going to be the Browns.
I don't think Steelers with the first overall pick, that would be crazy.
It would be, honestly, it'd be much better.
It would be much better. They'd get Arch and
if the Steelers went and were the worst team in the NFL and got the number 1 pick and got like a great quarterback out of it.
It would be good for them. I just really think they have more talent on the roster than that. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this question then. If you think they're going to be the Browns and you like the Browns over, who do you have at 4 in this division? Because we haven't talked about Baltimore yet, but I'm gonna take a guess and say it's not them.
Yeah, I've still got the Steelers at 3 here. I think they'll be closer to the Browns than Steelers fans would like to be.
So maybe they'll win 6.
I can see that. I can see Browns at 5, Steelers at like 6 or 7, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And if you're a Browns fan, Steelers
I like
fan,
Fautanu guys. I like the trenches for the Steelers, and I do think Rodgers will be a better quarterback than anyone the Browns has on the roster. Like, Rodgers would obviously start there. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'll be real with you. I have the Steelers at 3 as well, but I think there's a number of positions or guys that you can point to and say that might be a real upgrade for them, or that might be a new weapon for them. And I think I would take Rodgers over Wilson, frankly.
Okay,
so yeah. I'm not, look, I don't like their long-term outlook, but I don't think that this is like, I don't see this as the year where they're not like hovering around the 500 mark.
Maybe I should put the Steelers at 4 and the Browns at 3, just to, like, if I think it's crazy. Close, like, why not? Yeah, I'm amending it. Like, let's do something stupid.
I don't even know if I can get behind that.
I know I can't.
Steelers worst team in the league. Loading.
Worst team.
No, I don't. That's
That
what it
would
would
be-
take kind of to be worse than the Browns. So maybe.
I mean, if we're saying the
Yeah.
Browns are like, just like, I could see them getting 5.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you this. So that's built off like the Steelers and winning like 4 games, right?
Steelers winning.
This isn't like or are we saying the Browns are like finding 6 wins?
Maybe they're both winning 5, and then the
both winning
tiebreaker.
5.
The tiebreaker puts
Ooh.
the Browns over for some weird reason.
Okay. How do you think a game between the Browns and the Steelers would go?
Bad.
Let's see.
I think it'd be bad.
How do you think the Browns offense would do?
I close my eyes. I see Aaron Rodgers missing throws. I see Broderick Jones getting manhandled by Myles Garrett. I see Jedrick Wills getting manhandled by TJ Watt.
Jedrick Will's not there anymore.
I see Rodgers. I see the other guy getting manhandled by TJ Watt. I see Flacco.
Conklin.
I see Flacco limping around. I see Rodgers limping around. I see a couple good tight ends on the field for both sides. I see one good wide receiver. I see one good player in this. I guess Beanie Bishop. I see more good players in the secondary for the Steelers than the Browns, but a little bit of bad interception luck makes the Browns get an extra possession, and I don't know. I think they're similar teams. They got old head quarterbacks. They got one good weapon. They got tight ends. They got
Myles Garrett's going to have
mid-lines.
that a Colts-esque
The
performance.
Steelers' offense is just not anywhere close to as bad as Cleveland's. On some, there's levels.
But their play calling will be better. Cleveland's play calling will be better.
Dude,
That's right.
I can't.
I
get
agree.
behind this one.
Njoku.
What good did that do them then? Last year.
They won versus Pittsburgh last year.
Yeah, they
also
won
beat the
3
Ravens.
games.
They beat Pittsburgh. Look, they got old head quarterback, one good receiver, 12 personnel looks okay, average looking lines, 1-star pass rusher, a great defensive tackle. Like it's not that. The team builds aren't that different, honestly.
This is what I'm saying, dude. I'm like, the Browns can win 5 games, 3 against the division. They won 2 against the division last year, and they almost took down Cincinnati. They came pretty close there.
They did. They did. The Steelers have a talent advantage for sure, but the Browns, I do think they could have the coaching advantage at this point in terms of maximizing their play calls. So yeah, I think it could be close.
Yeah, dude.
I think it could be close.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Well, luckily
It'll give
they
us
played
something.
twice.
We'll see how it plays out. We'll see how it gives us something to watch this season. If we're just completely tripping.
But if you're a Browns fan, Bengals fan, or Steelers fan, and you've listened this way through and you're thinking, wow, these guys hate us, you should join the Stay Hot group chat to really tell us off. Go on over to stayhot.chat, join the Chat BCC group chat. Those guys set us up with this really streamlined, simplified chat system. And it's got a host chat, it's got a member chat. And we just sit in there kind of all day and just talk ball. We talk about movies, we talk about music, we talk about a little bit of everything. But I imagine the 3/4 of the AFC North that have listened to this episode so far are probably thinking, I'm going to go in there and just badmouth the Stay Hot podcast.
Okay, it's fine if you're a Bengals or a Steelers fan. If you're a Browns fan, like we had
Yeah,
you guys
don't
over. Like, what are you possibly?
You should know that I am also a Browns fan, so you can't say anything bad because this is coming from the heart, man. And if you don't know it by now, I don't know if you ever will. So, but if you're a Ravens fan, you'll probably be pretty excited because we'll have you right where we always do, and that's right at the top. So, but go ahead, join the Stay Hot group chat. We'll have a segment here at the end where we give you guys a taste of the kind of stuff the Stay Hot group chat can come up with, because we're going to do another draft here at the end. So again, it's stayhot.chat in your browser. Use your phone number to sign up. Super easy. Download the app. It'll be a ton of fun, even if you disagree with our placements here.
Do we want to get to Baltimore?
Baltimore,
What's there to say?
Well, I think there's a few things that are a little bit different with them, although I mostly agree that they're very similar in running it back. I mean, offensively, it's a largely similar team. They got Stanley back, which is big. They have Lamar Jackson, who's playing like about as good as you can ask. Derrick Henry is a year older. That is something to keep an eye on. But Theo, you've brought up before that like if you're good at 30, you're typically good at 31. And Henry at this point is probably earned a you're good until you're not good. Plus, Lamar is just so important to the run game that like it's hard to imagine that it would really fall off a hill to a level where it's like Derrick Henry would have to be like among the worst running backs in the NFL randomly. So like it's not worth a long discussion, I don't think. Their weapons in the pass game, I still don't think are like that good, but they're not as bad as they've been before. And, you know, Flowers and Bateman are starting to come into their own. Andrews is maybe getting a little bit up there, but it's like you've got some guys who can be real threats as pass catchers. So the offense will probably largely be the same. Defensively is where there's a few differences. Main one being that they probably won't get off to as slow of a start as they did last season, hopefully, and that their secondary looks, I mean, super awesome. I think their secondary has a chance to be like legendary type of good if things break their way, with Starks being a factor. Wiggins is somebody that I had on the breakout team and who would hardly be breaking out. That feels like not that much of a projection and definitely will be, I think, an all-the-time corner for them. And then Jair Alexander, which is crazy. They picked them up too. So it could be, you know, you throw Hamilton and Humphrey in there as well. I mean, it could be really something different where you look back on the 2020s and think like this is one of the best secondaries that was put together. I really don't think that's an exaggeration. On top of that, like the pass rush doesn't have like straight up winners that you're like super, super excited about. That's probably their big weakness. But I was high on Mike Green pre-draft. I do think he's going to bring a level of juice to them that they haven't had before. So overall, like I wouldn't be surprised if this, you know, I think we had him at 3 in our defenses behind probably the Broncos or the Eagles, but they're certainly with like good interception luck or good development luck within striking range of being like the number 1 statistical defense this year. Combine those two things together, what they're really waiting for is like the playoff performance to come around, right? They were probably a catch or two or a Mark Andrews just average game away from advancing further.
Or a healthy Zay Flowers. He didn't play either of the playoff games.
Right. So it's like, I know people, when I brought up that I had him in the Super Bowl as my pick, that there were some people who are like, when are you going to stop falling for it? And like, look, I totally understand that. But like Ryan Day and Ohio State won the national title last year. Like at a point, like I have to be convinced that things can change, even if they haven't happened yet. And that's particularly true when you're like losing playoff games off of fumbles, right? And like shit, like the shit they lost off of last year, which is not to say that it like was completely like not their fault at all. But if you play a game 10 times, it's not going to turn out the same way anyway. So I believe in their talent. I guess they're also sort of the same where I maybe like them a little bit more than last year. I definitely don't think they've like downgraded in any major way. So they're a tier 1 contender that has not really put it together. And we're seeing, is this maybe the year?
There are so many quarterbacks that waited a long time. Like so many. If you took out Brady, Mahomes, Roethlisberger, Eli, like maybe Aikman, Bradshaw, like those 6 or 7 quarterbacks, whatever I said, in the Super Bowl era, like what is the average season number for the other Super Bowl
There's
winners?
just as many guys who had to wait a long time where it was a war for them. I mean, like, you think about Peyton Manning, of course, is sort of like the number 1 dude where he was, you know, a playoff stinker for a long time. And then that kind of stopped being true and he got his big win, right?
Yeah. I mean, Drew Brees was, I think, 31 when the Saints began their Super Bowl run. John Elway was definitely the type of guy we would have hyped up for years, right? Like huge arm, like winning a lot of regular season games, like pass rate like crazy high compared to other quarterbacks, all those things. you know, he's 37 years old the first time he wins a championship, and then he wins it again in 1998. Like, you would have had to have been pushing agendas for decades. Stafford, like, it literally, it's something that gets so much energy gets spent on is worrying about why people don't have good playoff performances. And it's something that to me just does not, like, I hardly think about it. Like, I don't know if that's too far, but
there's a level to it where it's like, I think it's impressive when someone's consistently good, and when someone's consistently bad, it's worth like talking about. But there is also like a level of sample size to it, you know? And there is, I think there's a lot of people who are just sort of like stick in the mud, like it's never going to change, or like this guy's just not a winner. And it's like, oh, that's kind of like not really saying a lot. And like, if you have a valid point to make about why a guy is worse, fine. But so many times that take is more attached to like nothing. You know what I mean? It's just attached to like, here's what happened in these two games. Now, we can debate about whether or not that's true for Lamar, but I guess the point is, it is not that uncommon for guys to like overcome a bad career playoff start, if you know what I mean. And when you look across the league, there's a lot of dudes who are in that category. I mean, Burrow obviously made the Super Bowl, but like, he's had some not that great performances. And if he continues to be on a team with bad defense, it's like he's going to find himself there. Herbert is obviously in that category. Allen has played like out of his mind in a lot of playoff games, but hasn't actually won them yet. So if I talked about the Bills, that would be them. Same with the Ravens. But it's like, at a point, you're getting to like half of the top, 10 quarterbacks who are like just not winners, you know what I mean? And, only one team gets a Super Bowl every year. So,
yeah, it's a good discussion about Lamar's playoff chances, because it really does seem like it would take some sort of disastrous injury for the Ravens to miss them. Like, how could they miss them? I think they have the.
I mean, it would take like Lamar getting hurt or something, or like the entire secondary collapse. Like, it's not impossible, but it's not worth discussing any more than like what happened if Josh Allen got hurt and then the Bills are bad. It's like, yeah.
Do you think
the floor is 0 wins? Everyone gets hurt. It's like, yeah.
Do you think they have the lowest odds of any team to miss the playoffs?
Let me think about that. I don't know. I'll say this about the Bills. I think they play in a weaker division. I don't really buy the Dolphins, the Patriots, or the Jets as like great competitors. Whereas like, I think the Steelers can hover around 500 and be in striking distance. And I think the Bengals could get hot and are tough against anybody. To me, if we're talking about like the true, like definitely can't miss teams, the question more becomes, who are the locks if their quarterback doesn't get hurt? And the answer is like maybe 4 teams. And then which one of them is like in a division where they could be missing their guy for the longest amount of time? Maybe the answer is still Philadelphia, because you feel like they're not as dependent on one dude as any of like, the Bills or the Ravens or the Chiefs or whatever. Not to take a shot at Hurts or anything, but like, yeah, I think the run game would still be really strong without him, albeit like not as good, of course. But if they went the entire season without Hurts, like, yeah, I'd be pretty nervous.
Yeah.
It might be the Eagles.
It could be the Eagles. I would say, to figure that out, my guess would be you have to look at whatever team was best in the regular season last year is probably the team that'll be the best in the regular season this year. And I do think that that's the Baltimore Ravens last year. First in offense, 6th in defense. Like, Lamar had.
Yeah, and again, their defense got off to like a bad start.
Yeah, and they've added,
it was like not good.
Yeah, they've added some rotational pass rushers, which is really all they need to do at this point. Is just like keep getting guys who can really get after it on 3rd down to go along with Madubuike. And Peebles and Green are 2 good ways to do that. So, yeah, I really just think it's a question of, are they healthy in the playoffs? And do
Can they get
guys go their
consistent?
way? Like, does Lamar
Well, I mean, to
fumble
be fair,
weirdly?
Lamar had some not great. It wasn't like a perfect game from Lamar.
No,
and
he
they lost
fumbled,
for no
right?
reason.
He fumbled. So, like, but the things like that, like, they are kind of.
Oh, sure. I mean,
It's just like such
they
weird disaster plays.
Yeah. So, yeah, they should win this division. And as far as it being easier than the AFC East, that might be true, but I really don't think that the Steelers, Browns, and Bengals are that formidable of a next three at this point.
I'm sorry, just off the basis of the Steelers' consistent competence.
And consistently beating the Ravens.
Right. That is far more threatening than, like, I mean, we haven't gotten to the AFC East, but, like, I think the Patriots are a year away. I think the Jets are, like, pretty limited. I think the Dolphins, like, I don't know. I don't think any of those teams are particularly strong.
It's fair.
I wonder what AFC East team has the best record against the Bills since 2020. Do you think it's the Jets, Dolphins, or Patriots?
I honestly have no clue at all.
I'm gonna guess
Google
Miami.
it.
Okay, so Miami has won one game against the Bills.
Yeah, but see, Miami, I knew not.
Let's see.
I'm gonna go Patriots. It's gotta be. I mean, the Jets were, like, trolling in the first half of the 2020s. They had like one year where they were like, their defense was.
My gut is kind of the Jets for no reason, but
because of the defense.
Yeah, the Patriots since 2020, they have won 1, 2, 3 games against the Bills. Shout out Joe Milton.
Oh,
shout out.
And then the Jets. Maybe nobody cares about this, and I'm sorry about derailing the podcast.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
The Jets are at 2.
Wow.
Since 2020 began. So shout out New England.
So there's 6 combined wins.
Yeah.
In 5
in
years.
6 games. Yeah. So they're winning at about 20% clip.
Yeah. Maybe it is the Bills, just since they're such mortal logs to beat everybody.
Wow.
So I've got it: Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, Browns. Not a particularly cool order, but
unfortunately,
I really do think this is.
Unfortunately, chalk.
I like the potential of the Steelers take, and I think you could actually give that take about the Bengals too, where it's like you could imagine a world where their defense just, like, totally sucks if Hendrickson doesn't come back, and then you can imagine a world where it's like, what if the 1-score games don't go their way, or there's like one, or like Jamar Chase goes down, or like Burrow, like they have very little room. They're entirely dependent on their top 3 players, like probably more than almost any other team outside of, like,
for sure. No, there is no outside.
Definitely
there's no outside.
So it's like, I think you could give that take too, but I have a hard time, like, actively predicting that something is going to happen there.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, maybe in the NBA, I feel kind of entirely differently about predicting with injuries.
I feel like we could see a Ravens win the Super Bowl and the other 3 teams are in the top 10. Like that's my hot take about this. Division is the Ravens. It's always viewed as super competitive, and it has been super even, and no one has ever won the AFC North 3 times in a row. I remember looking that up when I was looking up if the Lions could do it in the NFC North, and there's a lot of parity in this division. But so yeah, there's a lot of reason to believe that wouldn't happen, but I could see it this year where, like, the Ravens just, like, sweep. The Ravens just sweep.
It could.
So, but I'll go that it's not chalk, and there's a bit of a shakeup at the bottom, and I'll say Ravens 1, Bengals 2, Browns 3, Steelers 4. I'm embracing the Steelers hater label.
Go crazy, bro.
Might as well. So we'll say it just falls.
Then with their yellow helmets for their throwback.
God, those jerseys suck.
They're wearing them against Green Bay.
And didn't Green Bay reveal some, like, even
also like
they're wearing, like,
weird
faux
throwback
leather helmet, like that? Yeah, just crap. No, it's who is it for exactly? Nobody. There's gonna be some cool highlight that happens in one of those games. You're gonna be like, good Lord, what are they wearing? You'll be thinking that in 2037.
It's going to be one of the worst jersey combinations on the field ever.
It is really going to spoil the Jordan Love MVP highlights compilation in a few years. But
That's going to actually cost him his MVP is the fact that
it'll add some spice to the Jordan Love interception
best
review.
Game of the season, and no one's going to care because it's the worst jersey matchup ever.
Yeah, him versus the Steelers. So, yeah, but we have a draft planned also about the
AFC North,
don't we?
We're picking our top AFC North seasons of all time from players.
This
Correct.
was we asked in the Chat BCC group chat for draft ideas, and this is one of the ones that was proposed. But I'm fumbling on the actual name of who it was that told us to do this. It was Ryan Blum said that we should do individual seasons by an AFC North player all time. So that's what we're going to do today. Each of us get 3 picks. And Theo, since you want to go ahead and give the Steelers you want to go ahead and go anti-chalk here for the AFC North, why don't you take the first pick?
Why don't I take the first pick? And why don't I take with the first overall pick in the AFC North season draft, I'll go with 1963 Jim Brown.
That's a good one.
When he had over 2,000 yards from scrimmage in 1963.
But
Okay.
Not bad.
That's not the Jim
14
Brown
games.
season I would have picked, but
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you're still on the board for you.
he is. But I'll give Matt the second pick here, seeing as
Okay.
my division.
I'm going to set the rule that we cannot pick different seasons from the same player. Obviously, I think that's
Okay, that's fair.
case.
I think that's fair.
otherwise it would be
So then I'll tell you
So
which
confusing.
season I would have picked from Jim Brown. I would have either picked 1964 because that's the year they won the championship, or I would have picked one of his 3 MVP seasons, probably 60.
that would be hilarious if that was
he
your
had
whole team.
21 touchdowns.
We all just pick
Jim
Brown.
season.
You probably good because he finished first in MVP 1, 2, 3 times.
Yes.
He
He has
finished
3
second twice. He finished third another time, and then he was first team All Pro 2 other times. And then
And they have a championship season in 64.
yeah. And he also had an 18 touchdown year where he did not go make any All Pro team or anything. He was just a Pro Bowler.
Which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, so yeah, you could just draft Jim Brown season. But I get the best one where he had 6 yards per carry and 1,800 yards.
That's a good
Over
pick.
6 yards.
All right, Matt.
This is kind of a tough one for me. There's a couple of guys that I could go with, but I think I'm going to take 2000 Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
Absolute leader of like a dominant defense that won the Super Bowl without having like a top quarterback. When you think of like great defenses who are able to pull that feat off, which it's pretty rare, you think about them. And when you think about them, you think about Ray Lewis. He also won Defensive Player of the Year and got like MVP votes and all that good stuff. So I'm going to roll with him.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad pick at all. I don't know if there's another Super Bowl season that I really, or like another championship season that I really like picking here. So I'm going to, with my first pick, I'm going to take unanimous MVP Lamar Jackson in 2019. And then with my second pick, I'm going to take 2004 Ed Reed, Defensive Player of the Year.
Yes.
9 interceptions, the 106-yard pick 6. So 2 Ravens with my first couple of selections here, but
I'm surprised that you went 19 for Lamar. I think he was better later.
here's
to be
the
completely
thing.
honest
I
with
agree
you.
with you, but I think in terms of like
Aura.
when you look back on this, on like Lamar Jackson's career, like 20 years from now, no one's going to be like, oh, well, Lamar was actually better this past season when he didn't win MVP, or he was better in his second MVP season. They're going to say he led the league in touchdowns and like made the Ravens from like kind of a sleeper playoff team into like a 15-win team and was unanimous MVP. Like I just think like it's just like a better accolade season for him.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. It's tough, man. Honestly, it's tough to separate a lot of like the just really great seasons, you know.
Mhm.
But I might take Myles Garrett in 23 in his Defensive Player of the Year season. I mean, we now know that he absolutely carried the entire defense in a way that's like pretty hard for anybody else to comp. I know we've got a lot of like old guys we could pick from, and there's a lot of really good like Defensive Player of the Year of a guy who I think was a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, I'm staring at a list of like 7 of them, but truly like just because he's playing now doesn't mean that we won't look back on it and say like, yeah, I mean, that was a Hall of Famer in his prime. He may have been the best player in the NFL in 23. So
I think you can make an argument straight up that he is the best football player on the planet right now.
Yeah, I think
hard
so.
to argue.
I think so. I'm gonna go with a Steelers defender. I'm gonna go with 1993 Rod Woodson.
I was thinking about that.
Oh yeah, that's a great.
He won Defensive Player of the Year that season, and I found an article that charted all of his games that year, which was super cool. And it kind of went down. It kind of gave a breakdown of how he did in each game and highlights from each game. And then at the end of the season, they compiled all the stats from the year, and the guy came up with 56 targets, 26 completions, 414 yards allowed, 0 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, a defensive passer rating when targeted of 32.8. So it's cool to get those stats for a season in the early 90s. And having 8 picks while also allowing like 26 completions all year is crazy. That's pretty ridiculous. And Rod Woodson had a bunch of seasons like that. So he's one of the greatest corners ever.
Fair enough.
And then I get to swing, and I'll take Jack Lambert from 1976, another old Steelers defender. I don't know what he did, but he did finish second in MVP voting as a linebacker. So I got to imagine it was some pretty crazy stuff.
Pretty cool stuff.
And he won Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll go with the 70s Steelers player. I'll go Mel Blount, who had 11 interceptions and won Defensive Player of the Year in just 14 games. And I believe they won the Super Bowl in 75.
Yes,
no?
they did. And that was my sleeper pick. I honestly should have taken him with one of my first picks because he has a rule named after him. Like they changed the pass interference rules because of Mel Blount.
Oh, so he's a merchant, a bust pick. This is like finding out your draft pick.
He changed the game.
He's a merchant.
You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll give you Blunt. I'll take TJ Watt in 21, going 22.5 sacks.
Okay. Theo, which year of Rod did you take?
I took 1993, but because of Matt's rule.
No, I wasn't going to take a Rod Woodson year. Okay. And then who's your I'm sorry, I'm writing down all of these picks. Who is your second pick?
It's tough, man. There's a ton of like offensive, defensive, or MVPs coming from the AFC. Maybe it's just like because it's like a chunk of the league. So it's like, of course, there's going to be a lot, but there's a lot of dudes.
The Steelers and Ravens are pretty ridiculous. The Browns and the Bengals are not quite as crazy.
I mean, there's Josh Gordon and AJ Green in 2013. Both had pretty outstanding seasons. Jamal Lewis for the Ravens had 2,000 rushing yards in 2003.
I didn't even think about Gordon, honestly, but that'd be...
James Harris, that was the first guy that I thought of, was Josh Gordon.
What?
What do you mean, what? Single season.
Look, I'll be completely honest with you. He played 14 games and had 1,600 yards with like Brandon Whedon throwing to him on like
it's a valid
10 yards a target. And you think about like not to like bring up anybody to slander. Or look at take like Malik Neighbors or like Larry Fitzgerald or like all these guys who can have their like yards per target like crushed just from bad QB play. It's like, so to not do that is nuts. It really is not wild. That is an all-time great season.
Yeah,
It
no,
is
it's
it's one of the greatest wide receiver seasons of all time. Like I think it stands to say that, just given the context of it. James Harrison is another great one. He had a depoy year in 08.
100 tackles, 10 sacks, hasn't been done since.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that was the last time was in 2010 he did it. But when they won the Super Bowl, he had 101 tackles and 16 sacks.
Yeah, he did it twice, and he had the pick six in the Super Bowl that went 100 yards, the longest play in Super Bowl history, right before halftime.
Oh,
which is
a better season than the Mel Blount in 75?
It's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. It definitely deserves to be talked about. Steelers have a bunch of good ones, man. Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Harrison.
Mean Joe Green had a 11 sack season and one depoy. Le'Veon in 2014, pretty ridiculous.
I think I'm going to stick with Blunt.
There's not...
Matt, if you're giving me Blunt, who are you taking?
I'll take TJ Watt when he went 22 and a half.
Oh, yeah, that's as good as
Maybe
gets, isn't it?
Who cares? There's too many good names.
There's too many good names. Okay. So
Jamar Chase just won the Triple Crown too.
Yep, Jamar Chase.
Go home.
Munaz and Ogden are two like goat tackles.
Yep, you could
Joe
go if there was a protector of the year.
Would have if. I mean, the only thing, the like most notable thing about Joe Thomas, I mean, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, like went 11 straight years without missing a snap. But it's hard to point to a single season and be like,
that's the thing about the linemen is I don't know. Maybe Ogden the year Jamal rushed for 2,000 yards, Jamal Lewis.
Maybe.
But that's just going off the vibes of the accomplishment. Don't know if that was his best
balls
year.
to pick it.
I don't know. Like I don't have the turns like
Sure.
too many other good ones.
But
Okay.
that's all thanks to the Stay Hot group chat, which again, you should join. Go to stayhot.chat in your browser and download the Chat BCC app. Sign up with your phone number. It'll be a ton of fun. We'll be talking all sorts of ball. I've been giving an album of the day every day. I've got 3 queued up for the next couple of days. So if you want to see what kind of music I'm listening to and you want to get put on, that's the place to do it. But again, thank you all so much for tuning in. And as always, from your favorite 3 fellas here at Stay Hot, Matt, Theo, Blaiden, we will catch you on the flippity flop.